right, let's go ahead and talk about some lab safety. So this safety contract is going to be available for you in course content. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I expect you to read it, you to understand it, and you're going to have a lab safety quiz that you fill out. It's based on everything that's in the safety contract. Turn that in online, and that'll just show us, yeah, you've read the contract, you understand what it says, and then when we come together in actual lab, we'll have you sign an in-person piece of paper that says you read it, you know what you're talking about, okay? So I'm not really going to include anything special as far as the coronavirus because this contract was made for scientists who are going to treat everything as if it's already contaminated. So this is going to be something that the protocols aren't really going to change. We would use this whether or not there's a pandemic going around because we're going to have sanitary practices. So it's all about being sanitary, being safe in the lab. So let's just talk about a few of the important ones. I want you to read the rest. So the first one is number 2, you're going to wash your hands before and after lab. So we're going to have gloves available to you. You're going to come in, wash hands. We'll have both soap and water stations and hand sanitizer. And then you're going to put gloves on. Then at the end of the lab, throw gloves away, wash hands again. Okay, so no food, drinks, or gum in the lab, and that one's pretty obvious. You don't want to bring something into the lab that has germs, and you don't want the germs in the lab getting in your food, especially at this point in time. So no food, drinks, gum, they have to go immediately in the trash. Just leave them in your dorm. It's a lot easier to do that, okay? So don't assume an area is clean. Treat every surface like it's already contaminated. Wipe down your area before you get started, even if it's just a really simple experiment with no real dangerous chemicals or bacteria, anything like that. Treat it like it's contaminated, and that's what we're going to do, especially now. So here's a big one. Proper clothing, proper footwear. So these are 3 big things, and they're really important for us. We're going to have closed-toed shoes every lab. We're going to have long pants, and anyone with long hair, that's got to be tied up, okay? And that's just to give layers of protection in case you're using a chemical, you spill it on yourself. You don't want to sizzle your skin off. You want to have a protective layer there, okay? So in years prior, we've had scrubs available, backup scrubs in case you forget your clothing or something like that. We're not really going to have that this semester because we can't give you that because it could be contaminated. So what I tell everyone to do is make sure you have in your car, especially if you're a commuter, or in your backpack, an extra pair of long pants, they can be sweatpants, jeans, whatever, and an extra pair of closed-toe shoes. Because if you don't have those, you can't get into lab. You won't be allowed to participate. You'll have to come back on one of the other days or following week, and it's going to be inconvenient for you. It's going to be inconvenient for everyone, okay? So make sure you have those things. Another thing is we typically have lab aprons. That's just another layer of protection for you. I'll keep you updated as we go along whether or not we will still have those. Normally we do provide something like that, but we can't ensure that those aren't getting contaminated each week. So that's something that's still to be determined. But make sure you just note that for the lab safety contract. Okay? So we have some safety equipment. We have 5 pieces of safety equipment: fire extinguisher, fire blanket, eye shower or eye wash station, safety shower, and first aid kit. We'll point those out when we're all together in lab. Just know that those are our 5 big things that we'll be using in case of an emergency, okay? So now when it comes to glassware, inevitably, we work with a lot of glassware, somebody's going to break one. And that's all right. Just make sure you don't touch the glass. Even if it breaks and it's in a big piece, don't touch it. We always sweep that up. We sweep it up with the broom of shame, and we put it in a separate container. We don't put it in the trash. There are 2 trash cans in the lab, and then 1 broken glass container. And that's a cardboard box with a bag in it. We want to put that glassware in it separately. So anytime we break anything, glassware goes in there, never in the actual trash can, all right? And then lastly, stools and chairs. At the end of lab, we're just going to push those back under the table and leave lab like we found it. Leave lab clean and orderly, and that will factor in to be a part of your grade. So make sure that you're treating your area with respect. You're treating every surface like a contaminant. You're paying attention to whatever the guidelines are at the time, the CDC guidelines. And then we will also keep you updated as we go, what the school policies will be, and so on and so forth. So finish that safety quiz, turn that in online, make sure you read this and just know the basic ideas of it. And then we'll talk about a few pieces of it when you come into lab, and you'll sign that sheet and be good to go.